your title, the organization you work for, and if you would like, why you wanted to be a part of the network.
I guess I'll go first. My name is Barry Giese. Been a foster parent for quite a while. And recently I kind of teamed up with Christy Dodd and we started an organization called JACA, which is Jeeps Against Child Abuse. And I brought that about because of the fact seeing things and dealing with things as a foster parent. And we want to help spread the awareness of what child abuse in general is, and that includes the sexual abuse side of this.
Thank you, Barry. And so we can progress a little faster through, if you wouldn't mind, if anybody else wanted to introduce themselves by using the chat, we do appreciate your introduction and we thank you for being here, Barry. And as the organizers of the North Dakota Child Sexual Abuse Prevention Network, we would like to introduce ourselves to you. I will start. I am Kara Hickel, the Child Sexual Abuse Prevention Program Coordinator with the North Dakota Department of Health and Human Services. Greg, I will now turn it over to you.
Hi, I'm Greg Kosowski. I'm the Executive Director of the Children's Advocacy Centers of North Dakota.
Thank you, Greg. And next up is Lindsay.
Hi, everybody. It's good to see so many familiar faces on this call. My name is Lindsay Burkhardt, and I am currently the Director of Prevention Initiatives, and I'm formerly the Director of the North Dakota Child Sexual Abuse Prevention Task Force, and I'm with Families Flourish ND. So we really thought it would be important to share with this group how or why this network came to be or where it came from. So we wanted to share a little bit of that history with you just to give some perspective. So the North Dakota Child Sexual Abuse Prevention Task Force was created in 2017 and it sunset in June of 2025. Honestly, we could spend way more than 5 to 10 minutes talking about everything the task force accomplished. You know, the resources we developed, the pilot project we conducted, the impact we had. But without going into the weeds, so to speak, I'm going to stick to how the network came to be. So we're going to start with 2019. And since 2019, the task force worked under 4 strategic goals, and those goals were rooted in primary, secondary, and tertiary prevention strategies. One being around implementing a primary prevention across North Dakota. The second was strengthening support for children and families during interviews, investigations, prosecution. The third was strengthening trauma-informed services for children and adult survivors, families impacted by child sexual abuse. And then our last goal as a task force was to strengthen the network of providers who support offender rehabilitation. And what we recognize is that these goals as a task force, we know they're important. They were so important to us and they were ambitious. But what we had determined over time was that focusing on primary prevention, on the primary prevention of sexual abuse, really aligned best with the legislature's original charge, which was to develop a comprehensive approach to the prevention of sexual abuse. So with all of that, with our 4 goals and trying to narrow our focus, in June of 2023, the task force at that time held a strategic planning session to again sharpen that focus. And we were guided by the 6 pillars for prevention developed by the National Coalition to Prevent Child Sexual Abuse and Exploitation. And with all of that, what we were learning, we developed our guiding pillars. And those are the pillars that you see on screen. And that would really be what drove the task force forward from there. And again, you can see those on screen, which are policy, advocacy, legislation, education and awareness, collaboration, funding and growth, organizational policy procedure, and prevention research. So again, like Lindsay, how did the network come to be, right? Well, under that collaboration pillar, we envisioned or we determined that for us, that meant to develop, coordinate, and foster a statewide coalition of dedicated professionals to increase the coordinated impact of child sexual abuse prevention efforts and initiatives across North Dakota. And not to include all of those objectives, but some of them were to determine the gaps in services, to navigate barriers, to share data and research, to use evidence-based strategies to inform prevention efforts, and many, many more. But this network came and grew out of those pillars of the task force, specifically the collaboration pillar. The network was also inspired by the North Dakota Primary Prevention Partners group and the Texas Prevention Network as well. And with that, we need your help. Greg, Kara, and I met in December, and Greg shared these amazing, beautiful logos as you see on screen. A big thank you to Andrea Nelson with the Children's Advocacy Centers of North Dakota for creating them for us. And when we met at that time, we collectively decided that we needed your voice in determining which logo we should have and should represent the work of this network. So take a minute to look at the 3 logos and in your mind, mark which is your favorite, your second favorite, and then your least favorite. And now, if it works, I'm gonna put a poll up, and we want you to vote on which logo. This is where I get nervous, but we're gonna try. Okay. Apps. Polls. It's loading. Okay. I'm launching it. I hope you all can see this. Can you see this? Yes, I see it. Okay. Oh, woo. Okay.
Yes, but yeah, hit launch. Could you share the pictures of the logos again?
Oh, okay.
Just so when we're voting, we know which ones we're voting for.
I'm really sorry, you guys. This is my first time with a poll. We practice too. Um,
So the top one, or drag the one that you like the best to the top.
yes. Is the poll live, Greg?
Yes, it should be
Okay.
working. If you don't see it, if it didn't pop up, it'll be in your chat.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yep, and we have responses, so it's working just fine, Lindsay.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay. All right, we'll give everybody just a minute. I know we just had someone join the meeting, so hopefully the poll is still available. So we
While
want
they're vo-
people, oh, go ahead,
While they're
Greg.
voting, I was going to ask Lindsay, what's the cost to participate in the network here?
The cost? Well, it's
Yeah,
completely free.
there we go. Okay.
Yeah, we just want all of those professionals and those people who are invested in child sexual abuse prevention to be a part of our network. I don't really see many more responses coming in. I see we have about 28 responses, so we'll give it, if you guys are okay, about another 30 seconds for people to put their choices in, and then we can determine our logo. Oh, good. Okay, I'm seeing there's some of the poll. It looks like the majority have voted for logo 2. So with 1 not too far behind it, but I think as a collective, we will go with logo 2 as our network logo. Thank you guys for taking the minute and for going through that with me. Now I know for next time. But logo 2 will be our official logo for the network moving forward. Now over to you, Greg.
Thank you. So you guys all took this survey. You probably don't remember, but it was 6 or 8 months ago. We had 82 respondents. I wanted to show some of the information we got from that. And so we have 82 respondents, but this network is open to really anyone. We'll be recording the meeting, sending out meeting notes after. So even if you miss a meeting, you can stay up to date with what's going on. Lindsay or Kara, would you mind putting in the chat the link to that survey? Folks, feel free to copy that and send it out to folks in your email list if you'd like. So the frequency of our meetings will be every 2 months, and that was based on most respondents, or the largest percentage of respondents saying they preferred every other month. We have, I think a lot of us know each other, but there's people from all over the place: social workers, law enforcement, counselors, survivors, foster care parents, folks in church ministry. So we got a really good representation across the board. Next slide. So we asked you all a few questions, and here's some of the results. What topics or area of child sexual abuse prevention were you most interested in learning more about? And parent caregiver education is number one. Public awareness and prevention messaging is number two. School-based prevention is number three. And trauma-informed care is number four. And we're going to be covering all these topics in this network here. What type of content would you find most valuable in meetings? Spotlights on community programs, prevention program updates, networking and discussion, highlighting available resources, expert national speakers. We're going to get to almost all these even today. The expert national speaker, we have a really good one coming up toward the back part of the meeting here. And then what challenges or barriers have you encountered in child sexual abuse prevention work? Limited staff capacity or burnout is number one. Lack of funding or sustainable resources. Number two, resistance or discomfort discussing child sexual abuse. We all know the people's eyes gloss over sometimes when we're talking to them about this sensitive topic. And reaching rural or tribal communities is number four. So thanks again for everyone filling out that survey, and please share the link with others. So, and that link really just is I don't know, it's not necessarily an application. Everyone gets accepted no matter what. So it's just how we know how to have people join the network here. So I'll turn it over to Kara.
Well, there are many exciting projects happening in North Dakota around preventing child sexual abuse. And we're just going to give a few updates on some of them. First up, I will update you on the North Dakota Environmental Scan Project that will be starting in the very near future. This is something that Lindsay and I will be working on together. It's conducting a snowball sampling method of schools, youth survey organizations, and daycares across the state. This environmental scan was last completed in 2022 by the now sunsetted Child Sexual Abuse Prevention Task Force. The results of the 2022 environmental scan provided a lot of valuable information. And from this survey, some resources were already developed, such as the caregiver and resource guides. These guides provide information on resources that help inform and educate on child sexual abuse prevention. I will also mention that these guides are also currently being updated, and they will be available very soon for you all. Now I will hand it over to Lindsay to tell you about a child sexual abuse prevention pilot project.
Yeah, so we're excited to talk about this pilot project launching in February. So we're launching a project in Western North Dakota modeled after the Richland County pilot project from 2023. The pilot project was a year-long effort completed in collaboration between Families Flourish ND and the task force. We used a multi-layered prevention strategy when we went into Richland County. So, and if you're like, where's Richland County? It's the Wahpeton area in North Dakota. So we had 4 different levels of prevention that we wanted to go into the county with, and that was child education. So we conducted child sexual abuse prevention lessons for first and second graders all across the county. We provided adult training, which was the second level of prevention. So school staff, law enforcement, community organizations, parents. The third layer was community awareness and a social media campaign, which was outreach, social media posts, working with the paper, putting up a billboard, a lot of different things that we were doing across the county. And then the last piece was our data analysis, which we launched even before the survey or the pilot project started. We did surveys on knowledge, beliefs, and impact across the entire county. And we found out a lot of really helpful information. So I just wanted to share just some really quick outcomes because we don't get to talk about this project a whole lot anymore, but 387 children were reached across Richland County, and nearly 50% added a safe adult to their network, which is amazing. We had 142 adults trained on child sexual abuse prevention strategies. We saw some shifts in community beliefs. Fewer thought that child sexual abuse didn't happen in Richland County from when we started, but what we learned is that damaging myths still persisted. We learned a lot. We were eager to, and I would say we are eager to apply what we learned in those or throughout the pilot in Richland County and take it to the pilot in Western North Dakota. And we'll share updates with the network as we go. And I think I just would like to thank the Department of Health and Human Services for the funding and then the partnership with the Multi-Partner Health Collaborative for making the project possible. And like I said, we'll share updates.
Thank you, Lindsay. Now I would like to introduce Christy Dodd from Families Flourish ND with an announcement on Cat Month grants.
Thank you, and I'm going to share my screen really quick. So I think almost everybody knows, can you see my screen? I should ask that. Okay, so I think everybody knows who we are, or at least our primary focus. And so we're formerly Prevent Child Abuse North Dakota. We went through a name change, and our Families Flourish ND, our focus is still the same. It is still on child abuse prevention efforts across the state. And it is to ensure that all kids in North Dakota have the opportunity to grow up with happy, healthy, safe childhoods. Let me see. I think I skipped a slide. Okay, sorry about this, guys. All right, let's get here. So this year we have the opportunity to present the CB funding, and that funding allows us to give out 16 grants at $1,500 to do child abuse prevention, primary prevention. I will emphasize it is primary prevention efforts across the state. The theme this year at the national level, so this is happening all across the country, the theme is pinwheels of possibility. So it's really looking at the pinwheels and how they celebrate the potential of kids and everything that is tied with kids and the importance of that. So that is our theme this year. So just to re-emphasize, under the priority, it is under primary prevention, or it can be into secondary prevention. So some of the things that this grant will fund are parenting classes on how to, and I'll give you a great example. If you're talking to parents about screen time and what is going on and the dangers of screen time, the focus of this grant is teaching parents how to respond to their kids when you have a teenager, you take their screen away and they're throwing fits, they're slamming doors, they're doing all kinds of stuff. So it's how do you respond as a parent? It's not just about the dangers of screen time, which is more education, but it's all about the prevention efforts of how do you deal with the issues before they arise? How do you talk to your kids about child sexual abuse, body awareness, body safety? How do you bond with your newborns? One grant last year did a massage with newborns and new moms to how to bond with your kids. How do you talk to your kids? There were grants that were done for never shake your baby and how do you educate your parents on the importance of never shaking their baby, coming up with a plan. So we have grants last year that went from Crosby to Wapaton, and they were from Grand Forks through Dickinson last year. So as I mentioned, we have 25,000 that we're giving out. That is 16 grants for 1,500. You will find the grant application online on our website under our work and under Child Abuse Prevention Month is where you'll find it. Our website is pcand.org, and the deadline for the grants and the applications are all part of that, excuse me, is February 2nd. We won't notify anybody until February 18th, and then we will go from there with the final report. Something to keep in mind with this grant opportunity is you do have to have an evaluation piece that is part of your grant. So you have to evaluate and do an evaluation with parents about what skills they knew before and what skills they learned as part of the grant. This is our website. This is how you can stay connected and find the information. And this is my contact information. Couple things to keep in mind with this grant is we will not be able to pay for any food. So if you're teaching parents about how to do healthy meals and cook with their kids, which is a bonding activity, we cannot pay for the food for that. We don't do jump houses at a community fair, but we will pay for activities at the fair that involve parenting skills. And we cannot pay for anything that supplants staff time. So if you're sending staff to training, we cannot cover their salary during them attending training as part of that. I'm going to stop sharing and really quick just open it up for a couple questions, but that's essentially the grant opportunity. And if not, I'll turn it back over to Kara and Lindsay.
Thank you so much for that update, Christy. And if you have any questions that you think of afterwards, you can certainly reach out to Christy and she will answer them at that time. But right now, Greg Kosowski will provide an update on the ND Hope project.
Hi, ND Hope Project, different from ND Hopes, which is a suicide prevention program that many of you may have heard of. We were not aware of that program when we created this brand, but ND Hope Project, this is a collaboration between or among 6 organizations, 31A Project, they work on human trafficking. Youth Works is another human trafficking organization. The Central Dakota Forensic Nurse Examiners, the North Dakota Domestic and Sexual Violence Coalition, formerly CAUSE North Dakota, and Families Flourish North Dakota, and then us at the Children's Advocacy Centers of North Dakota. So we came together because we noticed there was a lot of stories in the news over the last year related to child exploitation, child sexual abuse, human trafficking. And so we have a press conference tomorrow at 10 a.m. and it'll be live streamed on a website, which I'll put here in the chat in a minute. But I just wanted to share a little teaser video we're going to show before the press conference to give you kind of an idea of what this project is about. And just a warning up front, this is a bit of an emotionally jarring video. So, I mean, this is a trigger warning. If you need to step away, mute your speaker, that might be advisable. So just that warning.
We begin tonight with new information from a North Dakota Bureau of Criminal Investigation report revealing some shocking details about former State Senator Ray Holmberg's years of sexual abuse against minors. It's very graphic and very detailed.
Former North Dakota lawmaker Ray Holmberg had been arranging to meet with minors for sexual encounters.
You know, we obviously knew about his crimes. We had some disgusting details. Ray Holmberg's day job was an educator.
Right. And not only a counselor, Rob.
A counselor, right.
We're going to him for help.
A former West Fargo school principal has pleaded guilty to federal child sex abuse charges.
And many families woke up to an email this morning from the district informing them that Independence Elementary School principal David George is no longer employed.
There was kids that would make jokes that he was a pedo or like a pedophile and stuff because of how he just interacted with girls especially.
Okay, that's unfair.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Like, how is that fair?
How is it fair that these kids get victimized? How is it fair that
the former director of the North Dakota Game and Fish Department has been arrested and charged with a sex crime? Police in Mandan arrested 71-year-old Terry Steinwand.
This is me at 16 when I met Jeffrey Epstein.
17 years old. I was only 14.
I was in 9th grade.
I was systematically recruited, trafficked.
This is about children. There is no place in society for exploitation, sexual crimes.
A Grand Forks paraprofessional is facing felony charges. Investigators do believe there may be more victims.
A Jamestown elementary school teacher and volunteer firefighter is facing charges.
A former university admissions director has pleaded guilty.
The superintendent and principal at Dakota Public School in Binford, North Dakota, has been arrested.
An active member of the Air Force stationed at Minot Air Force Base is now facing 4 charges.
A 25-year-old Dickinson man has been arrested and is facing 3 felony charges.
Turner is a nurse working in CHI St. Alexius's psychiatric ward.
Kohler searched Instagram for images of teenage girls that he knew in the community. He then used AI software to generate the nude images.
A former North Dakota Sheriff's deputy is now facing federal charges which involve child
So I'm going to put in the chat a link to the website here. So again, tomorrow morning, our 6 organizations are going to gather. We'll be at Bismarck Public Library, 10 a.m. It'll be live streamed on ndhopeproject.org. And I mean, frankly, last year was a year from hell, and we are just with the media, the onslaught of media and the re-traumatization to victims, hearing story after story. I mean, the Ray Holmberg story was not just one news story, that it was the entire year was filled with it. So, yeah, so what we're proposing is 2 things tomorrow. One is just reminding victims that we as victim serving organizations are here. We're here to help. And then number 2 is providing a solution to this. And the best solution we could come up with is educational opportunities. And so if you notice on the website toward the end, we're going to, or in the middle of the website, we're going to offer 5 webinars coming up. The first one is talking about what sex trafficking really looks like in North Dakota. There's some misconceptions about that topic. Lindsay Burkhart will present on child sexual abuse prevention as possible, which we're excited about, January 26th. We have folks from Bureau of Criminal Investigation talking about, we're calling it today's creepy white van. It's really how people in the past thought the guy in the creepy white van is no longer. Its perpetrators are manipulating children online, and that's how they gain access to kids. So BCI will be presenting on that one. And then AI companion chatbots are a new topic in child exploitation and the normalization of child grooming. There's also a mental health component to that. So that'll be another one. We don't have a date yet for that. And then the 5th topic will be on sexting, cyberbullying, and healthy online relationships. So I encourage each of you individually to register, but also share these, if you could, with, we're really targeting them not toward professionals like yourself, but toward parents and caregivers is the primary audience, which is why we're going with the press conference to kind of try to reach really parents, grandparents, anybody taking care of kids or has responsibility for kids in their lives. So hope you'll tune in tomorrow, and I hope you'll share this link and encourage parents and caregivers to register. Oh, Lindsay, you're muted.
Yeah, I just realized that.
Okay.
I got my screen shared and then I was like, I don't think I unmuted. We're ready. We're excited. We're ready for our featured presentation, and I am so honored to introduce Jenny and have her share her incredible expertise and passion with all of you today. Over the past couple of years, I've had the privilege of working alongside Jenny in committees and on the National Coalition to Prevent Child Sexual Abuse and Exploitation. I'm just very honored to introduce Jenny. Jenny Coleman has worked in child welfare for 30 years as a clinician, educator, advocate. Her work is rooted in trauma-informed, nonviolent, and community-based approaches. She joined Stop It Now in 2011 as their helpline director and now serves as the director, leading their national child sexual abuse prevention program. Jenny trains globally on primary prevention, consults with youth-serving organizations and community-based services. She's a member of the National Coalition to Prevent Child Sexual Abuse and Exploitation, and additionally serves on the board. She's a frequent media contributor and was honored as a Distinguished Service Award with a Distinguished Service Award for her work on What's Okay at the National Youth Sexual Behavior Symposium. I'm thrilled for all of you to experience and her insights and the energy that she brings. And without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. And Jenny, I will turn it over to you. Thank you for being here with us today.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm not like slick enough to do that and talk at the same time. So give me 1 second, just because I'm more used to Zoom. Can you tell me if you're seeing my slide?
Not yet.
Oh, you're not. Are you seeing anything?
I'm seeing our faces. You can see your face.
Well, that's probably more pleasant than a slide. Let's try this one more time.
There we go, Jenny.
Oh, good. Thanks for your patience with that. Let me just get this set up down below too, so I can make sure that I'm flipping it when I'm supposed to. Oh, there you guys are. Okay. Yay. Hi, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. And Lindsay, I was thinking how honored I am to work with you. The last couple of years have been great. And I'm so happy to hear that you are going to be talking further about the possibilities of prevention, because we really need to believe that these days. And it's true. You know, when I ask folks, do you believe that we can prevent child sex abuse? Folks look at me a little like, I don't know sometimes. But if I ask if we believe that we can keep one child safe, then the answer is yes. And I know sometimes that may not seem enough, but it is. It's really how we change the culture, how we keep kids safe, and how we all understand our roles together. And I so appreciate all of you and the work that you do. Thank you so much. I came in just about 10 minutes and could hear some of what's being planned for this media event over the weekend. I love hearing these voices. I hope you all know about Stop It Now. My time is a little limited and I can talk on and on. So if you haven't visited the Stop It Now website, I really invite you to do that, stopitnow.org. That is our flagship public education resource where we are able to offer through different portals access to a free confidential helpline, public education materials. There's information about training. There's just loads of content. Stop It Now is a national program, although we work internationally as well and have international Stop It Now partners. We focus on the primary prevention of child sex abuse. Primary prevention means before a child was harmed. We work across the spectrum. We work with folks when there's warning signs and they're trying to figure out next steps, or abuse has happened, and again, trying to figure out next steps. But our goal is to prevent sex abuse before it happens. And we look at that through the lens of looking at what we can do as adults. We know that there's a lot of fabulous programs to help children think about their safety, about how to disclose, when to disclose, just their own bodily autonomy. And at the bottom of it, we know that adults are responsible for keeping kids safe. And, just real quickly, and because it frames the work that we do, our beliefs of respect, of compassion, of inclusion, of holding everyone accountable while offering everyone a pathway to getting support and help is critical to what we believe is a part of the prevention puzzle. We focus exclusively on perpetration prevention. And I'm pausing on exclusively because, as I said, we work across the board. But what we want to really understand is that when we can understand more about what's happening, the situations, the people, the environment that contribute to the possibility of a child being sexually abused, we can better prepare then to intervene, to plan for safety, to have conversations with others. We can interrupt and deter behaviors that can be harmful to children. And when we do that, we increase the strength of our community at large. When we care about everyone involved, including those people who could be at risk, giving them healthier resources, access to support and health, giving them access to counseling, we're hoping that we are, again, indeed creating that safer society. And we know that through prevention, we save, so much in both the emotional, the financial, the social tolls that are that happen through abuse. So bottom line, perpetration prevention is about holding people accountable and responsible, but offering them hope and support and a pathway so that they stay safe. Now, with that in mind, our helpline, which has been in operation for nearly 30 years, was increasingly hearing from youth. It is designed to be for adults only, but we certainly don't turn anyone away. And we were hearing young people contact us with inquiries about their own behaviors. We know that people need help younger and younger. And those of us who are in the field know that youth sexual problematic behavior is often kind of not an afterthought, but we're still not sure what to do. How do we assess a behavior? Is this abusive? Is this harmful? We know that kids are harming each other, but we weren't really seeing that in the lens of the progression of prevention with child sex abuse. When Dr. Finkelhor came out about 5 years ago now with recent research, kind of sharing the findings that 70% or more of self-reported child sexual abuse cases are committed by another child or another teen, many of us in the field said, yeah, we know that. And we're so glad to be able to elevate this to everyone's kind of awareness, because this is where we need to pay attention if we want to create from the foundation a safe environment for youth. So again, the majority of child sex offenses are committed by other kids. Nearly 1 in 10 youth report some type of self-involved sexual perpetration. And actually, I'm just realizing I'm kind of big on updating citations, and that one, I wouldn't be surprised, has been updated. We know what has been increased, We know that this is a critical time for adolescents as they're trying to figure out who they are, who they want to be, who they fit into the world, both in relationships as well as in, broader family, job, community engagements. We also know that there's little resources for youth, that it's kind of either we see it through a lens that doesn't really see a problem, or we see it through this kid is going to be a criminal. And we're not always looking for that through that developmental lens that will address kids' questions and issues that's not punitive, that's not entering necessarily kind of a legal criminal justice world, but isn't ignoring the behavior too. that we can, that we need to build more avenues for youth early on before they've crossed lines, and that isn't waiting until it's too late. So we began What's Okay 5 years ago. We're just now embarking on our 6th year, primarily funded through the World Childhood Foundation, and we've just received our 6-year funding, so we're very pleased with that. We began first as a pilot, really wanting to duplicate our Stop It Now website and helpline, and make sure that we had kind of a separate avenue for kids to reach out. Our goal number one is to prevent child sex abuse. That is at the bottom of everything we do. So to do that, we wanted to make sure that we were getting in front of youth and young adults with information, with resources, with accurate information about the questions they had about sex, sexuality, and relationships. Not necessarily your normative questions, although certainly we were going to be prepared to take those, but the questions that really were, I think there's a problem, and I'll talk more about that in a second. We also know that we need to reach youth. In order to help youth, we need to figure out what are the pathways that they seek help. How do they ask for help? What are the things they ask for help about? And what are the steps that they take after that? And again, really look at their behaviors, not through that kind of just punitive lens, through a lens of uh, um, in any way kind of calling them out as already troublemakers, but instead offering them ways within their developmental perspective that makes sense for them. We initially developed this through lots of research conversations, just real briefly spoke with folks such as Crisis Text, who had been doing texting with youth for years. We spoke with someone out of Washington State Department who had set up a consent training curriculum for middle schoolers. We worked with Students Against Sexual Harassment, that's SASH, in our local area in Massachusetts. We worked with the National Center for Sexual Behavior of Youth, and some of their youth there made up our, and continuing to make up, our Youth Advisory Council. We initially weren't sure whether we were just going to add some new content onto the Stop It Now site, but instead we built a brand new website. I really invite you to visit it at whatsok.org. It's really designed, again, to appeal to youth. We talk to our advisory councils. We know from our Stop It Now work that how we talk about this issue is critical, and what we present is critical. When we want to engage people who aren't in our field in talking about sexual safety of children, when we talk in a fear-based way, often what happens is we shut down people. Our goal is to, in a strength-based way, demonstrate this is what we are aiming for. We are aiming for youth to have experiences with their families that are safe. We are aiming for adults to be able to talk to each other about kids' safety. We're aiming for everyone to practice safety planning. And so our colors and our images are designed to really, again, demonstrate positivity and not kind of scare people off. Very simply, our website is organized with our FAQs. We're going through a little bit of reorganization already into our 5th year because of the work that we're doing on search engine optimization and looking at youth searching styles, both in AI and through just search engines. We want to make sure that if a youth asks a question online, the pathway that gets them to the answer is as clear as possible. These are the basic categories that we've kind of separated out around what's okay. So just some basic terminology, laying a groundwork for healthy relationships and boundaries, talking about the importance of consent and permission. We answer questions immediately in the FAQ that are more global about how do I know if there's a problem? What if I'm obsessing about something? And then we delve into some very specific content information about online anime, for example, on age gaps in relationships, on consent, on things that youth have done in the past. They have questions about. I'll give you some more examples of those. And we answer questions that they may have about a friend, a colleague, a student, a classmate of theirs, a family member of theirs. And we also help them find help for themselves, whether it is as a youth who is reaching out because they are a survivor of some type of sexual inappropriate behavior, whether they're a youth engaged in sexual inappropriate behaviors, whether they're trying to figure out how to intervene with somebody who is engaging in illegal and sexual abusive behaviors. Our blogs are just a treasure trove of information for youth that gets to some of the questions that we're hearing them ask, both from our Stop It Now website, but also from Now 5 years on What's Okay. We add new blogs all of the time. The questions can vary from everything. Oh, I'm going to go into a little bit more about what their questions are. So take a look at their blogs. And I want to show you quickly just some of the ads to give you an idea of how we're reaching out to you. So I am going to speed through these just for a second. These are our older ads, and this is some of the newer ads that we've been testing with Snapchat. So they're very simple ads, and they're designed to not, again, shame a youth, but to just say, hey, if you have a question, this is where you can go. I'm fascinated right now. We're working with an MPH intern from Brown University who's designing for the next 6 months a whole social media campaign that will track using all sorts of the different platforms. We started off using TikTok, Snapchat, and Instagram. For various reasons, we have been mostly focused now on Snapchat, but we'll be resuming ads on those platforms, plus exploring some other. We have research that's also going on to certainly measure the efficacy of What's Okay, but part of that is getting youth to continue using it, which they are. I'll come back to how they're using it in a second, but just so you see on your screen, our basic response, all of our counselors are master level counselors. We are not offering counseling or clinical work. This really is kind of a hybrid of 211 and coaching, with our goal is to get youth and young adults to the next step, whether it's looking up more information, whether it's reaching out for help from a trusted adult, maybe a professional. What does that look like? How can they access help? What's some of the language that they may need? We try to give them as much factual information as we can, particularly focusing on healthy sex education, making sure that, you know, some of the knowledge that they have may come right off of the internet without ever having been checked from their friends, you know, from their school. And so we want to make sure that they have sources of information that is accurate. Some of the questions we're hearing from, oh, is it okay to look at pornography? I'm looking at lolicon, a form of anime that's very sexualized. Is that okay? Is it okay to masturbate 13 times a day? Is it okay that I'm 19 and I think my 14-year-old cousin is sexy? The questions run from kind of the highest level to the most specific of behaviors and concerns. And you can certainly see the range of emotion that many of these youth have. These are just a couple examples of what we hear. I wish I could get some help. Can you please help immediately? I'm so scared. I hate myself. They're labeling themselves as child predators. And what we know is that youth care. They want help. They want to address what's going on in their life. And in fact, we're hearing from over 2/3 of our audience is kids who are reaching out concerned that they are someone who could sexually abuse a child, in their mind, a peer. We don't call it child sex abuse as we're talking with them, but we know that's what we're talking about, is keeping kids safe from abuse. So just some more examples of what we're hearing. I have been so impressed in my background as a clinician working with youth for 30 years. I'm so impressed with how curious kids are, how reflective they are, how much they really do want to do the right thing. And yet sometimes they're scared, they feel stuck, they feel manipulated, they're still exploring. They don't know how to access information about resources. They don't have accurate information about their own bodies, about relationships. They don't know who they can ask. They're afraid to say, I'm attracted to someone younger than me, for fear of going to jail, just being plucked out of their families. So they don't even know if asking is appropriate. We have not finished our 2024 data, but I would say that we are now at about 2,300, actually make it 2,500 helpline emails, chats, texts, and calls to What's Okay. We're not 24/7. We're actually missing a lot. Kids are reaching out all times of the day from every country. We've heard from almost every state. We've reached millions through our social media ads. And this doesn't have our website visits, but they also are in the tens of thousands monthly as well. So we are indeed reaching the youth that we want to reach. Just looking at the time, I want to give folks questions. This is such a high level view. What I hope I'm doing is really kind of tweaking your interest to visit both Stop It Now and What's Okay. For What's Okay, as adults working with youth and with parents, our goal is that we hope that you will share the availability of this resource, that you reach out yourself if we can support you in any way. I'm moving on from some of the further examples of what we hear, but I want you to know also we've been very pleased to be going through rigorous research. The Oak Foundation funded us in our second year as a global promising prevention program, and the Center for Violence Prevention Research, our research partner, has now had 4 papers published on What's Okay and continues to evaluate it with brand new CDC funding, which we're so psyched about. So that will continue. I talk so fast. I hope you caught some of that. Leaving some time for questions. This QR code will get you to flyers for What's Okay for you to post, both for youth and for your partners in the field, for your staff in your office. There's language to post on email lists. If there's anything we can ever do, I was so pleased that Lindsay asked me to speak to this group about what we do. We're happy to share this information. It's critical to us that we reach the people who are working with youth on the ground. We love your feedback. If you have thoughts about topics or even thoughts about how we responded in a blog, we really welcome that. We know we're all in this work together. Thank you so much for your attention today. And I'll turn it back to you, Lindsay.
Thank you. We could just take a question or two really quickly if anyone has any. Otherwise, Jenny, thank you. There was a reason that we had talked and we're like, let's have Jenny Coleman come for our first meeting, making history at the North Dakota Child Sexual Abuse Prevention Network. So grateful for the work that you and your team do. It's absolutely amazing. And I'll stop talking. Is there any questions?
I just wanted to say, in my clinic, I use this and give it out all the time. So we really appreciate the resource. And I'm glad you sent that QR code with extra resources. So we'll print those off too. We use it a lot. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. I love hearing that.
Thank you, Hannah. Well, it was amazing to learn from you, Jenny. And we're going to send a follow-up email to all network members. So even those members that weren't on the call today, they're going to get this information as well. So thank you, Jenny.
Thanks, everyone. Take good care. Bye-bye.
Yes, you too. Bye. All right, we're getting ready to wrap up. Look at us. We're right on schedule. We're pretty excited about that. We were worried we might go a little bit over. So let me pull this up here.
Yeah, so I think this is me just wrapping up. We'll share out notes after this, share out a recording. Again, that link, if you have other colleagues that might be interested in joining, please share that survey link with them. March 17th at 2 o'clock. That invite is coming soon. So, any final questions about the network? Our next meeting, just to tease that, there'll be two things we're looking at discussing is some of the resources out there. There's some folks that have been working on some child sexual abuse prevention resources for many, many hours. And so they'll be speaking about that. The other group we'll have is a representative from the Rape and Abuse Crisis Center out of Fargo. They provide red flag, green flag. It's mostly usually for second graders, child sexual abuse prevention training for second grade appropriate. So they'll be coming to kind of give an overview of their curricula that they present. So yeah, we'll let everyone go a couple of minutes early. Thanks again. You know our contact info, and we'll hope to see you March 17th.